Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are currently working our way through this construction queue. We're still a little bit negative in terms of our bureaucracy, and I actually think that I would like to build another Texas government administration here. So let's go ahead and get that built in here. I'm only building the one, so beyond that we are working our way through our construction queue. We have high tensions up here. Who just declared rivalry? Prussia. Okay, whatever. I don't really care too much about that. We are still running an engines input goods shortage, so that's definitely noted. English people are migrating to South Carolina. Sounds good. I like it. We'll put them to work. That will be absolutely fine. But judging by our bureaucracy here, we actually do need a second government administration in Texas. So we'll get that going. Looks good. We definitely do need to get additional motor industries in Ohio. So we'll get those built up, bringing that up to 30. That'll be just fine since we are running that input goods shortage. So beyond that, we're working on these railways and our fishing wharves. We're getting very close at this point. Indeed, we're getting very close to being back on our... Oh, wow, look at that bureaucracy just drop. Okay, sure. I'm guessing that is due to our institutions still scaling up. What is that? Yeah, we are still scaling up our home affairs. Vulcanization has been unlocked. That is unlocking several new production methods. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. Luxury clothes. This will consume rubber. We don't have all that much access to rubber. Indeed. Rubber is a bit tough for us to get our hands on. So I think we're going to stay on craftsman sewing for the time being. It's not ideal, but I don't want to import rubber right now. That'll cost more bureaucracy, which we don't want to be spending. Okay, I'm not seeing anything major in here right now. We can go down to bicycle messengers, which we'll do, but not right now. We'll take the conscriptions down to field hospitals. We're keeping these at the low levels for right now, so that'll all be fine. The price of transportation is still going to be very, very low, so that's not really going to be very useful. But it sure looks like we need another government administration in Texas. I'm actually going to build 5 total there. There we go. So that's all underway. We're going to have this one finishing up in 3 weeks, and then 7, and then 14 beyond that. So that all looks fine. We'll have those motor industries finishing up. Now, when is our truce with Mexico going to be up? It is up? It is up. The first transcontinental railway was successfully completed. Cool. Ooh, that migration attraction for 5 years is really nice. Do we want this to be in the Great Plains or the West Coast? That's the question. There's a lot more states in the Great Plains, so I think we'll go for the Great Plains. Just getting all that migration attraction in. Excellent. We're finally starting to build our oil rigs. That's looking good. And our motor industries are going to be done eventually, but man, our bureaucracy is not going well. Okay, well, we'll continue to work on that. These oil rigs in California, we need to have at least 1 level of it. Okay, now we're suddenly positive in our bureaucracy. Sure, did we just have another malice expiration? I mean, I know that two of our government administrations in Texas just came online, but that's a little ridiculous. Okay, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. So we're still working on paying down our credit. Military statistics have been unlocked. Cool. The dream. 2 standard of living in California. Beautiful. Okay, so that looks great. We are working our way through these colonizations up here. We'll get that done soon enough, but we're now in our auto expansion. That looks really good. 2 weeks on our government administrations in Texas, and we should not need additional government administrations for a good long time. In theory, in DC, we've got plenty. In theory. We'll see how realistic that is, but 1.87% growth annually, not too bad there. Motor industries are going to be done in 2 weeks. So that should at least help this engine's input goods shortage. Our home affairs investment is now full. We could take our social security up. I feel like we don't need to. Our standard of living has dropped off somewhat. We're still well over minimum, so I don't think we need to increase our welfare payments. We could think about passing a law. Let's see, we're on proportional taxation right now. Graduated taxation would be slightly better for us, but what we don't have is the ability to do it. Because people are opposed to it. Okay, that's fine. So we don't have the ability to pass that law. We are on racial segregation. We can't move off of that. Anything else we might want to change? Universal suffrage, presidential republic, those seem fine. We're on no migration controls, and I want to remain there. No migration controls has been serving us very, very well. So realistically, I think our laws are pretty much where we want them. Cool. So we're continuing to construct away. These are all auto expansions at this point. Market access in DC has risen to 78. Okay, that's neat. Still a lot of jobs needed in our railway in DC, of course. But that's fine. Fantastic. So we're at 168K right now, 175. This is going really, really well financially all of a sudden. I love it. We could think about expanding our construction. We definitely could. For economy of scales, we would want to finish up in Ohio, Massachusetts, and Bahia. And Virginia. And we lost another general. We're going to have to hire more generals eventually. Oil has been discovered in Louisiana. Okay, so we should definitely make sure that we have an oil rig in Louisiana and Colorado now too. Cool, we'll get those going. That's fantastic. And we're just continuing to automatically expand everything here. It's looking good. So our economy should be on a huge upswing right now, and in fact it is. That's looking great. So we're going to attack Mexico soon, right? I think so. We should definitely think about bringing up our military expenditures and seeing how our economy is feeling with this. Oil discovered in Rio Grande. Is that in our territory? It is in our territory. Okay, so we'll definitely build an oil rig in Rio Grande. There we go. Okay, this does put us ever so slightly negative, and that's without bumping up our military wages. So we would want about 40K here, plus about another 50K. So we're looking at about 90K that we need. And that's fine. We can auto-expand for a little bit here. I think it'll be completely okay. Bringing down the price of glass, which there's a lot of glassworks queued up, bringing down the price of glass is going to help a lot, actually. Opium is expensive. We have no real way to get opium. We will have to import it. Which is sad, but here we are. Tools, small arms, yeah. Tools, explosives, glass, steel, paper. It'll all get handled. We have an opium input goods shortage. That's not shocking. Gold has been depleted in Nevada. Oh, wait, we can build gold mines in Nevada. We should definitely do that. So I queued those up at the end of the queue. I'm going to move them up. There we go. Fantastic. So at this point, we can afford to raise our military wages. Almost. Well, not anymore. This just fluctuated. Okay, sure. Goldfields are depleted, of course, and that is unfortunate. I want to check in on DC here. 47.8. That's very slowly growing. Very slowly growing. Noted. What is our education law? We're on public schools? Okay. We're on legal guardianship for women. I would like to go down to women's suffrage eventually. There's just no capacity for doing this right now. It is unfortunate. But that would be nice to do. It would reduce our birth rate slightly, but honestly, I think that's okay. We're growing reasonably, but more importantly, we have huge migration attraction. So that's looking great. Our GDP is now #1 worldwide. by probably a pretty wide margin. Yeah, actually reasonably wide. We're well above Austria. How's Russia and Austria, huh? Okay, noted. Cool. So we're plus 85k now. We should, in theory, be able to afford bringing up our military wages. This means that we can probably afford a war with Mexico. So if we were to take, say, this state, Great Britain, Russia, France, Prussia, Austria, and Spain. Of those, Prussia and Russia are probably going to be interested in doing something about that. Now we have an army power projection of 2966. Compared that to Russia's, if we can get over there, compare that to Russia's 1701. Compare that to Prussia's 2675. So, I mean, they'd have a bit of a hard time getting here. I think that's pretty clear. I want to take our government wages up to here. Beautiful. And from here, we're just going to continue to grow our economy for a little bit. I think it's reasonably likely that these guys get involved in our diplomatic play in Mexico. That said, Prussia is currently busy. It's not a very threatening thing for them, but they are currently busy. Noted. We are continuing to colonize up over here. That seems fine. Our population is currently number 7 worldwide. Our GDP per capita is number 2 worldwide, which is a little odd considering our population isn't that high and our GDP is number 1. I don't know what's going on with that one. We found some oil, so we will definitely say oil is the future. Fantastic. All hands are needed to build the future. So we're currently slightly negative financially. That's fine. We knew that this would likely happen, and we're now positive again. Cool. This trade route is currently unproductive, which is sad. And now we're quite negative financially. I'm not shocked about this. This is going to fluctuate around a little bit, so it seems okay. We do have a lot of constructions underway. I wouldn't mind... What are we at right now for electric arc process? 19 months? Okay. This is obviously not the time to expand our construction sectors, right? That's very clear. We're constructing quickly enough, I think, and our economy can't really support it at this moment. That said, it will be able to quite soon. Oil has been discovered in South Dakota. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure that we have at least one rig there. Feminism has now been unlocked, allowing women's suffrage in theory. Oh, hey, we're position 1 in the world. Great. So we can go down to women's suffrage. We just don't have the support for it. Okay, so that'll be fine. We're continuing to build up all of this over here. I want to check in paper, tools, explosives, glass, and steel. And opium, of course. But there's not a lot we can do about opium. So I think that building some additional tooling workshops does make a lot of sense. Getting an additional location other than New York going, which there are some in Durango, actually. So something like that would be helpful. Paper would not be a bad thing. Let's go ahead and take this up to 20 and then this up to 5. Okay, and then we've got explosives, so chemical plants. I'm going to take Ohio to 20 and Indiana to 20. Cool. What else do we need? Glass. So I'm going to take Ohio up to 25, Massachusetts up to 15, Pennsylvania up to 15, and Maryland to 10, Rhode Island to 10, Sinaloa to 5, and Bajío to 5. That's a lot of glassworks. No doubt about that. And then steel. We'll take Pennsylvania for right now up to full full economy of scale. There we go. So that's going to be a lot of constructions, right? That's going to be a whole lot of constructions. But that's fine. What is this diplomatic play? Revolutionary Oregon versus Great Britain. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Russia is leaning towards Great Britain's side. We're going to lean towards Revolutionary Oregon. We'll be cautious about actually joining them. We'll see what happens. But we're going to lean towards them. Cool. This is a very interesting opportunity here, for sure. I would like to take over Revolutionary Oregon. And we'll see what ends up happening with that. Now, we're currently building a whole lot of steel mills, right? There's no doubt about that. Small arms are currently expensive. That's to be expected for the moment. We're working on some of these raw resources, right? So that's all fine for the moment. We're going to work our way through this and get our steel mills up to optimum capacity in Pennsylvania, and then we'll probably think about getting additional steel mills. So for the moment, we'll see who all declares neutrality. If it's just Great Britain, then we'll probably join this. Double checking Great Britain's power, 990. That's not very threatening. And they're apparently the number 2 power. Okay. But we're the number 1 power, so we should be able to beat them. So we're keeping an eye on this situation. This is currently 71. We let this go forward. 77, 78, 79. Okay. There's 1 day remaining. No one has joined this. We're going to support Revolutionary Oregon. And now it's countdown to war. Beautiful. Austria began mobilization. I'm not sure what they're doing, but they declared neutrality, I'm pretty sure, right? Austria's not in this? No, they're here. I don't think they can join now that we're in the countdown to war. Regardless, we need to raise up some forces here. So, we're going to need to go into our military tab. We're going to need to get ourselves additional generals in the Great Plains HQ. We'll get Ulysses Grant. In the Mexico HQ, I guess, it doesn't really matter what we go for here. I mean, these traits matter, but I'm not really going to be using them too much. So we're going to go for Patrick Hawkshurst, and then Irving Schuyler, sounds good, and then Braxton Sprigg. Cool. So we're going to need to promote some of these as well, right? So let's go ahead and grab some of these guys. So we know that we've got some forces here that are going to need to be increased, right? That are going to need to have more cap. So we'll promote this guy up. 35, that looks good. We'll promote this guy. 40, he might be able to control more. I'll promote him one more time. 45. That looks good. Promoting here up to 40. He'll need another promotion. 45. Okay, Irving Schuyler goes to 25. That should be fine. And 55. Cool. Okay, so at this point, how many fronts are there? It looks like there are currently, what, 3? Yeah, that's what it looks like for the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mobilize this guy, and we're going to have him advance the New York, Oregon front. Actually, the New Brunswick front. There we go. We're going to grab Ulysses Grant. Actually, I'm going to grab Braxton Sprigg. We're going to mobilize him, and he's going to advance at the Oregon front. There we go. And then we're going to take Ulysses Grant. We're going to mobilize him, and we're going to advance at the Oregon front. Okay. So we should have forces going in to all of these, in theory. You are going to there. You are going... Just checking here. Is anybody going to the Oregon front? Prince George is. Where are you going? You're going to the Washington-Oregon front. So are you. These are both going to the Oregon front. So we want this to be like the New York... The New York-Oregon front. That's a weird way to name it. Okay. Sure. So we'll travel in there. And this is looking good. We have forces in reserve still. Okay. War is going to break out with Great Britain. There we go. So our war goals are to annex the Columbia District. And we're just going to push through here and see what we can get done. Disease among the wounded, huh? Minus 20% recovery rate. I don't love it, but it's fine. Okay. So they have very little out here right now. This front has opened up. Braxton Sprigg is supposed to be here, isn't he? I don't know. There's a bunch of fronts here. I'm going to mobilize this guy, and we're going to send him over to the Idaho front. And then I'm going to mobilize this guy and send him over to the Washington-Oregon front. And now we have the New York-New Brunswick front, which apparently doesn't have anybody there. But it does. Very strange. Okay. So that's all fine. We'll be arriving here eventually. And we are making some progress. Generals are moving around as fronts open and close. That's to be expected. And once we arrive here, things will get a lot better. Rubber has been discovered in San Salvador. Okay. And we are running a deficit right now. But to be honest, that's to be expected. Once we finish up some of these steel mills, things will get better. Somewhat. Okay, so we have finally arrived over here. Apparently 2 of our generals came here. That's fine, though. We only have 3 fronts open at the moment. And now we have a front over here that's apparently vulnerable. I don't know what's going on with these fronts, but it'll probably link back up in a moment. Cool. So it's going to take time to get here. Alberta is now fully colonized, and that, of course, should be made into a incorporated state. There we go. Excellent. These battles are going kind of awkwardly, no doubt about that. Is the UK currently doing conscription? I don't think they are. Cool. We could theoretically do some conscription if we wanted to. I wouldn't want to activate all of our conscripts. I wish this said what HQ it would go to. But I think I'm just going to activate like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That'll do for now. And actually New York. Cool. We'll get New York as well. So we'll get a little bit of conscription happening there. These battles are awkward over here, no doubt about that. But we'll get some forces moved in. Okay, so I want to take a quick look here again. 9:15. 9:15. We are winning this war. That's for sure. But it's going to be interesting. I think that's very, very clear. We're running some input goods shortages because the British are having some blockading that they're doing. That's not surprising. Not surprising in the slightest. We are going to be finishing up... Actually, those steel mills are basically done, and now we're working on our glassworks. Cool. So that'll be okay. We're at negative over here, but I think that that will eventually change. How's this battle going? We are losing it. Okay. Noted. but it should still be fine. Ticking war scores against Britain right now. This is very awkward here. Very awkward indeed. I want to check in here. Let's see. 158 out of 186. Okay, so they've definitely not gotten their conscripts up. Oil has been discovered in Pennsylvania. We should certainly... Okay, that's fine. We should certainly build an oil rig in Pennsylvania. And that also means that synthetics plants are now a possibility. So, I'm going to build one in New York, and I'm going to build one in North Carolina, and one in Arkansas. Those are low priority. Cool. So, these wars are currently turning against us somewhat, or the battles are anyway. Well, maybe not. Looking at the war support here, the war support isn't great for Britain. All we have to do is out-sustain them, outlast them, right? And I think we can do that. Our money is a problem, but it won't be anywhere near as much of a problem once our constructions finish up. That said, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to wrap up this war. I think we will end up winning this. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Ken2win, James, Shadowwolf, Mlohan80, Kentogan, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Spartan News, Unisil, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. And as always, I will see you all next time.